All right, we're going to start the meeting. All those that can, please stand. The Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic which stands nation with God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay. Roll call, please.
All board members are present.
Okay, approval of the agenda, which, yeah, the agenda, I guess.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, the consent agenda, I probably should have, I will vote on it, please.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Sharlick,
Charlick, yes.
Miss Frederick,
yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carried.
So I got a question for the attorney here.
So early in the meeting.
In the consent agenda, we have the fireworks thing. Can I modify the language in that part right there? And then just vote out, leave it in the consent agenda? A little bit. Okay. All right. On the consent agenda, I'd like to change the wording on the item number 9, Ace Pyro, to read Ace Pyro 2025 fireworks contract with final approval of Township attorney on contract language.
Second.
Okay. Vote, please.
You want to do any discussion?
Any discussion on that real quick?
Mr. Sharlick,
Charlick, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item is announcements. The Highland Township offices will be closed on Friday, April 18th in observance of Good Friday. And then we have, for the first time in a long time, some sad news. Sue Gibson, a former township employee, passed away recently. Margaret Sharp, another former township employee who's deputy treasurer, passed away. And John Pratt, longtime township firefighter, also passed away recently. Give them a moment of silence. All right, the next item is invasive plant removal workday. That'll be April 26th, Saturday, at Hickory Pines Park from 10 to 1. Ladies' Day Out is April 26th from 10 to 5 in historic downtown Highland. And then the prayer breakfast is on Thursday, May 1st for National Day of Prayer at the Church of the Holy Spirit. Okay, next item is public comment. Do we have any public comment? Huge crowd. So I guess not. That's good. Okay, so first item, number 8, is a public hearing, which will start at 6:34. It's for industrial facilities tax exemption certificate transfer application. Any public comment? No public comment. Then we'll close the public hearing at 6:35. More or less. Okay, the next item is Resolution 25-08, Industrial Facilities Tax Exemption Certificate Transfer Application. And that's a number of years ago. I guess it was, what was it, 2019. Midwest Glass wanted to put an addition on their building. and with it, add at least an additional 10 employees, and through joint effort of the Oakland County Economic Development Group, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and Highland Township, we agreed to offer them a tax abatement. And since then, the owners at the time have sold the business, and they did do the increased footprint on their building, and added and have maintained more than the 10 minimum employees, and they've all along been a really high quality, one of our larger employers actually in Highland, and they they're one of the country's largest suppliers of tempered glass, bulletproof glass. If you've got a glass door in your shower as a custom door, it probably came from there. It turns out a lot of the windows in here, the glass is from Midwest Glass, even though some of them we didn't necessarily have the ability to spec it. It turns out it's actually made there. So on that note, we might as well do a resolution.
I
Or a motion.
move to approve resolution 2508, industrial facilities tax exemption certificate transfer application.
Support Lewis.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? Anybody have any questions? Jimmy, do you want to, just for general information, maybe we can talk about this.
Oh. So they were approved in 2019, but I guess it went back to 2018. And in 2019, after the addition, Midwest Glass, their taxes doubled. And then in 2019, when we gave them, 2020 it ended up, when we gave them the tax exemption, it went back to the same price they were paying before. So they built the addition, we assessed them higher, but they really only had to pay on the previous building cost. And I mean, having them stay here because they have another plant in Kentucky. I mean, I think it's been a great asset for Highland Township.
All right. So
Transfer drive. Yep, by a pile.
any other comments or questions?
We could note that this was established for 12 years, and so will be ending in 2030.
So it's not an extension, it's just a transfer. All right. Yes, sir.
You guys got any questions? Sign up now.
We're going to save you some breath if you want. If there's anything you want to tell us, it's been a great, prior owners that were phenomenal to work with. And I haven't heard boo from the current owners, so I guess that's a good thing. And they've been a responsible business in our community and a major asset. So that's what you want to keep. So thank you for showing up tonight. Appreciate that. Took a load off my back wondering who you were. I should have asked. You don't have to stick it out if you don't want to. Well, wait till you find out whether we vote for it or not first. Okay. All right. So vote, please.
Ms. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte?
Charlotte, yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Hell, yes.
Motion carries.
Now you can split. Yeah. Thank you, and pass that word along. We really appreciate being here. Thank you. All right, the next item is a maintenance supervisor position, and I want to do a little bit of explanation. What's the game plan here in Highland that's I think is going to save us a bunch of money. As most of you know, I try to do way more than I probably should. And I'm getting to the point where if I don't stop falling off roofs, I'm not going to be able to do anything. So Um, we're at a point where we need to have somebody that can help us maintain our assets. We have to establish a capital improvement plan, and with that is how do you take care of that stuff? And the girls in the office, they got enough to do. I can't handle it all. Jeremy can't handle it all. So what I determined was we really need to, at this point in time, establish a maintenance department. And so previously we had Andy, who had been a part-time employee, and he's chosen to go into full retirement, and can't blame him because he's up north. Well, he's not up north right now, but he will be over the weekend. So in that thought process of that, well, you know, what we really need to do is we need to have 2 full-time people. So I put out for a request for employment, and we ended up with 2 candidates that I think are going to do what we need to have done, and they'll be managed under the supervisor's department. But the responsibility of this first individual will be to establish a program that sets up a process for making sure that we have everything covered, and that the things are done that need to be done to keep this building looking new, and the properties and the parks and the things that we've been fortunate enough to not have to throw a bunch of money until the last year or so. But now's the time where it's coming back to bite us if we don't start taking care of them. So I'd like to introduce first, the first candidate is Deej Hubenschmidt. And he's the applicant that I'm hoping we're going to approve tonight. Don't get too nervous here. This is going to happen here. And Deej will be the maintenance supervisor. So the starting date is April 8th, which is tomorrow if you can do it. I'm sure you can. So starting wage, $28 an hour. It'll be a grade 4. Classification full-time. Maximum hours, 1,950 per year. Title position is maintenance supervisor. It'll be regular schedule, and the department head will be the supervisor's office, and there is a budget amendment needed. So somebody like to make a motion to approve? Motion to approve, Sally.
Second.
Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any questions? All right, Deej, you want to stand up and introduce yourself? Thank you. All right, so now we'll vote. You can sit down if you want. Okay, vote please.
I was just going to ask, or I was mentioned that I really think that, you know, establishing a maintenance department will be great to see like a department report each month on what projects, you know, what projects are coming up, what the priorities are.
Yep.
So we can weigh in on that too.
You'll be responsible to report. It could be on paper, it could be personal, you know.
Do we have like a vehicle that's going to be like the building inspector has? It's going to be
Yeah.
kind of.
Yep, we already have those. So that's what I've done over the last few years is pretty much set up the maintenance department physically with equipment and tools and stuff that we need, the trucks, for managing that.
I happen to be in construction myself, so I would say if you need any specific tools or ladders or safety equipment or anything like that, don't be afraid to put a list together and make sure we're being safe about it, but also productive. And if you need specific things or whatever, let's make sure we have them.
So generally the way it's been is people would ask, Rick, do you happen to have? And then I go out to my truck and I just happen to have everything. Well, here's Rick 2 here. He's got 3 times as much as I do, I think now, but maybe not, more big equipment. So, all right. Vote.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis. Lewis, yes. Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Yes. Please welcome to the Highland Township team here. So now you're going to have to work for 20 women. They're all going to be telling you what to do. So, all right. Next item is a maintenance assistant position. And some of you already know his other half and his daughter. It's Thomas Blasek. Starting date, once again, April 8th. Hourly wage, $24 an hour, grade 2, classification full-time, 1950 max hours per year, title maintenance assistant, regular schedule, working under the supervisor department, and a budget amendment is needed. And that's also will be the next thing we talk about. So the interesting part about this, the reason I looked at it and said we need a second full-time is that we had a part-time, and then a lot of what happens when you're doing maintenance is you just can't pack up and quit in the middle of a project. And when a part-time person reaches the end of their hours, it's see ya, that just doesn't work. And so on the merit that we already had a part-time allocation, I thought it was smart to be able to bring in a full-time, so you're not going to have to add that much additional for that position. Another thing that we looked at, and I talked with Nick, Chief George Nick, and we have an opportunity. Our snow plowing contract is up. We've been doing it on an annual basis. This past year, it was $60,000. And Cassie and I looked at this and kind of did an analysis and go, well, we got a snowplow truck sitting over at the fire station. If we take over the plowing, you save the $60,000 in the snow plowing, and that fund can help pay for the cost of the individuals that will now be working full-time maintenance for us, and that's our new snowplow crew. And so it's a kind of a win-win in that respect. You don't want to take away work from everybody, but I don't know if anybody remembers the last contract. They stayed 5% above the previous year with a lot of pushback. In fact, we took the fire department off the plowing list and only did salting. And the other contracts were almost, I think, as much as $100,000 for snow plowing. So we have to, those are the things we got to look at, maintaining the parks and stuff. We got some quotes for going in and brush hogging or forestry mulching some of the space at the Hickory Ridge Park. And it was like, I think $45,000. And it was one of these things where you go, wow, it's probably going to be a 2-day job. $45,000, we can put our team on that. We have the tools to do it. So it just makes sense. And it's a way that we can save some money. So I think it's important. I think we can do what we need to do for a while with 2 full-time and a part-time. Jeremy's staying on. I think it'll be a good start. And as Tammy says, it's an opportunity to be able to get that information. I've got my hands full. I'm not doing the best job of telling everybody what's going on in my head.
Rick, where is it, where are they gonna be kind of headquarters out of, just out of curiosity?
Well, they'll have a office here, but we're gonna use the old fire hall, #2.
On Duck Lake Road?
On Duck Lake Road will be where a lot of the equipment will be stored instead of having it sitting here in the parking lot. We can clean it up. Take the tractor out of the garage and that can be expanded for storage for files and stuff like that. We get that fixed up and get the general, maintenance stuff out of this yard. And it can get parked over there.
Where's that at right now? Back here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because I think one of the first things they probably need to do is just get organizational wise over there, if I've
Yeah.
learned anything, and just make sure they've got earplug. Like, do we have all that stuff, earplugs and gloves and?
you're gonna have to put that all together.
Okay, yeah, we got to make sure we get all that stuff lined up. Make sure we've got
Safety.
all the different stuff,
Yep.
especially if you're doing like forestry mulching or whatever. Because the worst thing that could happen is, we don't have that, or we're not providing it to them openly. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So before anybody starts doing any of that stuff, chainsaws and stuff, let's make sure we're providing it all and everything's
Yep.
beyond the safety stuff, the tools that they need, obviously, too.
Yep.
But
So, on that note,
Question.
yes.
So we're talking about taking over the snow plowing. Are these guys, are they trained or is that something we're going to train? I mean,
I don't have to.
it's something I know you guys, are you snow plow guys? Have you done that before? Or is it more going to be? Okay. I'm just curious what we're.
It's not rocket science.
No, I,
Paying attention to,
right, I understand. I just wondered,
there's, I used to do snow plowing and I've had a lot of friends that have done it. And there's those that pay attention and those that, play parking lot, hockey with, grocery carts, we're not going to do any of that. So,
oh, that's all. That's good. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
So this is a new position. So
Yes.
do we have to approve that first? And then hire? No?
I don't know.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
It's a change in position from part-time to full-time.
No.
This one.
Well, no, it's an actual new line item, but that's
Okay,
fine.
well,
I'm good with it.
okay, so, did we go through the motion on this one? No, we haven't.
I make a motion to approve Thomas Blassick to fill the position of maintenance assistant. Starting pay will be $24 an hour, not to exceed 37 and a half hours per week. Effective start date will be April 8th, 2025.
Support Lewis.
Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any discussion on it? All right, vote please.
Mr. Sylvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis. Lewis, yes. Mr. House,
Mr. Howell, yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Yes,
motion carries.
stand up so we can applaud you. You two guys are now part of part of Highland Township. We never had maintenance really before. I mean, we had somebody that used to do some mowing and some interior stuff, but this has gotten bigger than that. So,
And some crazy supervisor that decided to take a lot of stuff on. So
yeah.
good.
This is a great step.
Have you ever mowed the medians? No, I don't know. Okay.
Well, it would be nice to know that there's somebody after I decide I'm going to move on to another place. I don't know where that's going to be. I don't want to up, down, sideways. I don't know, but it'll be nice to have that set up so that I know that it's taken care of and this stuff stays the way it needs to stay. So,
Don't be afraid to tell the supervisor to just leave you alone. Let you do your job. I know how he is.
all right, thank you. If you guys would like, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting. So we appreciate your being a new part of the team. Look forward to a long ride as long as you want to. But I mean, as long as we can keep it around, we'd like to have you. So thanks again. All right. Next item is the budget amendment for.
This is just accomplishing what you have spelled out in your memos. I do want to mention, so when we write the next budget, I'm thinking we want to create a subheading for maintenance department.
Correct.
As of right now, this is just adding more employee lines under the supervisor, but we should probably get them their own classification.
Well, that way we can track it a little easier. So,
I move to approve the budget amendment as presented to add 2 new full-time maintenance positions and eliminate the seasonal part-time maintenance position.
Support how?
okay, you moved and supported. Vote, please.
Okay, Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell, yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hell, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, the next item, I'm gonna let Tammy handle that. It's dental reimbursement request from
Right. So at one point we had a very nice policy for when employees retired, and it provided for a limited amount of healthcare costs after retirement. That program has been closed, so our current employees, most of them are not eligible for that, but there are some parameters put on that. It's $1,000 a year or whatever the amount is for various things. And there's time limits when the year ends and so forth. And this particular employee, she wrote a letter to explain there was unexpected bill. It was quite large, but she wants us to reimburse this year for costs that she had for last year. And I didn't feel I could do that internally without the board's helping to override it. But she did not use her money last year. So it's not gonna result in too much payment. It's just the timing of it.
Yeah, what happens is in terms of audit, in order to apply it to 2024, it has to be paid out before the 31st of January. So she passed that time frame, so now it will show up. It would show up in 2025. It'll be a 2025 expense.
Right. Plus, then she would still be, if we approve this, she would still be eligible for another $1,000 this year. So not, so she'll get collecting 2 years in 1 year because of the timing.
Potentially, if she doesn't need it, then she won't use it. But
Yeah, Tammy, just a quick question. Are there any guidelines or stipulations what that $1,000 can be used for? Say, like if you have a dental insurance policy, only certain things are covered, only certain amounts are covered, or is this $1,000 just to apply in any way that is needed?
It's
Reimbursement.
It's reimbursement for cash expenses. So if she had insurance that helped with some of the bill, that would be fine. We're only reimbursing for their out-of-pocket costs. And yeah, it's fairly controlled. There's a lot of rules to it.
Question, I guess maybe I missed something, but why was it, it's from last year? And so why wasn't it taken, I guess, maybe, again, I'm sorry if I missed something. Why wasn't it taken care of last year?
Because she didn't realize that there was an amount due. There was confusion in the billing.
Okay, fair enough. I get that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah, this is not an authorization for others to go through the same process.
Yeah.
So we're only going to be paying $1,000 of the $1,595, if I understand it correct.
Yeah. And then if there are more expenses this year, we'll do up to another 1,000 for this year.
I'll make a motion that we grant the dental reimbursement request of $1,000 from 2024 to not affect the value of the $1,000 of 2025.
Support. I'll.
Okay, moved and supported. Any additional questions or if not, vote please.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item is window restoration bid for Steeple Hall. We are trying to get the last time we painted the building. We never did anything with the windows in the old part of the hall. So we obtained 3 quotes for this project, and as per policy, and these quotes, it says it may be verbal, written, or electronic. So we had a budget of $50,000 has been allocated to capital improvements for Steeple Hall, and the full amount is currently available for this project. The project is $13,456, and the bid is hopefully to be awarded to Dietrich Painting, who also has done the exterior work and is also certified in historic preservation as well. So, and he's done a phenomenal job. Every time he bids on these jobs for that building, they're always far less than anybody else. So, I'd like to make a motion to award the bid to Dietrich Painting for the exterior painting and glazing of windows for the gallery space at Steeple Hall in the amount of $13,456.
Support, Charlie.
Any discussion?
Did we have other bids, or is this, how
Yeah.
many bids do we end up having? 3, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Gold plated painting, okay.
Well, it's historical, you know, you gotta add up the past costs. So.
We saving all the time and drive time.
In a walk.
All right, vote please.
Mr. Sherlick,
Charlie, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis, yes. Mr. Howe,
Mr. Hal votes yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Emily, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, the next item. This is kind of like the dental one. In a different respect. If you all remember the GFL debacle last spring with the GFL changing hands, and I guess it was like from April through June or July, whenever the new company took over. We had a nightmare with them not picking up any of the compost, and the compost had sit out for weeks on end. And so in the past, when we had issues with trash, we would get a hold of TPC, Tim Klaus, and he would go out and he would pick up either compost that got left, so it didn't sit there and decompose, and we would compensate him for it. Well, he went out, he did actually picked up a huge amount of this stuff. In fact, in one case, he had it on his trailer with a wooden bed, and it caught on fire while it was sitting there, and the fire department had to go and put the fire out on his trailer. So, but he was supposed to give us an invoice last year, and I kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him, and you know, he did this work for us, and we should pay him, but I told him he needs to be more timely on it. So anyways, this is a request to approve, and I'll make the motion to approve the payment of $11,488.56 to TPC Lawn and Landscape for services rendered on June 22nd and July 6th, 2024.
Support Hal.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I do. I think, I mean, I really don't like being in the business of paying stuff off so much after the fact. And I know you said you were bugging him, and it comes to a point that if they're not willing to submit theirs, I mean, I don't want to see anybody not get their money, because obviously he did us a service, but if they're not going to, in a timely manner, worry about it, then I'd say thank you for your freebie, because, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he should be paid. I mean, they did the work, but if you're bugging and bugging and bugging, and he's not bringing the thing to you, it's like, there's got to be an end date on these. And like a lot of times, 60 days or 90 days. I think the same with us too, that, and I don't mind paying people for their work. I mean, it did us a great favor, because that was a cluster. There's no doubt about it. And the whole thing was, and not our fault per se, but obviously that's what happened. But I just think we've got to have some kind of cutoff, which maybe we do, or maybe we normally do, but not again, I don't want to see anybody not get their money, but You just can't linger out for, a year. Oh, by the way, we're going to pay you now. I mean, it's nice that we are. A lot of other times people would not get their money.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of moving forward policy that if somebody's going to do this, they're going to have to write a estimate on what it's going to cost. They think it's going to cost, and then they're going to have a timely payment, or it'll be noted that you don't bill in a timely manner, then don't expect us to.
Thank you for helping us, but sorry.
But anyways, that's where we're at on this. So
I have a question.
yes,
What trash company was in charge when this happened? Was it
GFL,
GFL and
we'd already paid them.
right, but have they dissolved or is there
They're,
any chance of getting money from them to help us with this?
You want to spend $11,488 on legal fees?
No.
Well, that's where you'd be at. Go ahead and sue a multi-billion-dollar company and see what they
Can
tell
we
you.
just call and ask?
Well, let's see how many other supervisors have levied lawsuits, and I don't think they're doing any better. So
And then a question about the bill, actually, it also is, so the first material and labor, that was the first week. And then number 4, the second materials and labor, I'm assuming that was the second week. Okay,
as he applied there,
yeah. And I have no idea, does that seem reasonable for what the company did?
look at how cheap trash is from the trash company. You go, how could that be reasonable? But the reality is, if we had to really pay, that's probably realistic.
Thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't go out there and do it for that. But
I think you answered my question because I was just wondering what some of these items consisted of, like what are materials, I can understand labor or dumping fee and truck cost. I was just curious what that was. Is that gasoline? Does any of this include salaries for the individuals that?
yeah, there's wages. And,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. all right. So
How many people were working on this project?
I know I saw at least 4 besides Tim. So there are multiple trucks, multiple vehicles, multiple trips to dump the material. He had to pay dumping fees,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So, I don't know if you've ever been to a dump and paid a dumping fee, but it's not cheap. So I think moving forward, we're hoping that we don't have a trash conundrum like this anymore.
Well, and
Yes,
with
sir.
having 2 full-time maintenance, if it was something that we could handle, we could go out and do now. You couldn't before just send someone from the office to go do it.
No, we're going to send people from the office to do it. We don't want to do that.
Jenny, get out there.
I'm last on the list.
All right. Vote on this, please.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis, yes. Mr. Howe,
Sir Hal votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
And this is definitely something that ain't going to happen again like that. So learning curve. Next item is a budget amendment. I'll make the motion to approve the budget amendment for this expenditure for the compost pickup of $13,500.
Support. Al.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia, Mrs. Lewis, yes. Mr. Howe,
Sir Hal votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk, Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, Tammy, you're on board again for this one. This is personnel policy revision.
Part 2. We revised our policy in February, and now we're revising it again because our wonderful legislature waits till the last minute to get things done. So we're back to just PTO, not PTO plus sick time. We had to increase the accrual rate for our first tier of part-time employees to meet the state minimum and allow for a higher maximum bank in that first tier. Otherwise, the rest of our PTO accrual rates met the requirements. Questions?
Let's do a motion first, I guess. You want to make a motion on that?
No.
I make a motion to approve the revised personnel policy.
Support. How?
Is that all you need?
No.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
can you make an effective date?
Effective April 7th, 2025.
Perfect.
And Tammy, I want to say thank you very much for handling this for the second time. It
Done.
was a long span to get to the one that we approved in February, and you took this over and watched webinars and saw what really was approved and how it changed, and I appreciate that.
I don't want to think about sick time anymore. All right, are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. Now next item is ordinance officer assistants and fire department administrative assistant. So, as hopefully you all know, the previous assistant, moved on, and, so Nick and, the other guy, Sean, are in need of assistance, and so we put out for the position and had we did 6. We only did 5 interviews. We had 6 that we had picked, and one individual chose not to show up, which is okay. I mean, that's the way it worked. And that's some pretty good applicants. I mean, very good applicants. And so anyways, there's a candidate that stood out above the rest, had some really good qualifications, had some firefighter background. She was in the Coast Guard, did search and rescue, just had a lot of, just ticked off a lot of things on her list. And she's the individual that the 3 of us and decided to give the opportunity to take the job. She accepted the offer. And the candidate's name is Laura Carpenter. Her starting date, April 9th, 2025. Starting hourly wage, $20.65. She'll be a grade 2, full-time. Maximum hours, 2,080 per year. And her position will be ordinance officer assistant, fire department administrative assistant. She'll be under the fire chief and supervisor's department, but because she does ordinance, which is our half of the her position, which Sean takes on. So, Nick, you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, she did phenomenal on the interview. Like Supervisor Hamel said, we had 5 candidates that interviewed, and I would have gladly took probably almost all of them. I mean, they were all very good candidates we had, which was awesome. She, like I said, she's checked off all the boxes above and beyond. She would have been here today. I want to let you guys know, but she's actually had a trip to California planned. So she was gone all last week. I don't even know if she's back in the state yet, but or she probably would have been here today. But I just want to let you guys know that, because it wasn't that she didn't want to be here.
And it's one of those cases where she was the first person we interviewed. And so she like set the standard for all the other conversations.
Yeah, she set the bar very high, and it still came. There's still 2 of them that was back and forth for. So,
yep. All right. So,
Question.
Yes,
So this is all, I mean, maybe I'm way out of old school, but this is all we pay for a job like that. It's $20 an hour. Is that normal? I mean, I'm just, where does that number come from?
for which,
The pay $20.65 an hour for,
it's this,
this is an adult we've hired, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is. I mean,
That's in line with what we pay our office employees.
yeah, I know, but geez, it just seems like,
It's almost 43,000 a year.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. Okay, just curious.
yeah, don't get me going on that one. All right,
I make a motion to hire Laura Carpenter to fill the position of ordinance officer assistant and fire department administrative assistant. Starting pay will be $20.65 an hour, not to exceed 40 hours per week.
Support Lewis.
it's 40 hours, it's more than 40 hours, isn't it? Well, it's 52 weeks, never mind. Forgot the other 2 weeks. All right,
Real quick, just on Brian's comment. So we have a grade schedule now. Yeah, and we're very low. We have no profit. Like we don't sell a product. It's all off of taxpayers' money.
No,
So
I understand. It's just shocking to me that 2025, it's just, I mean, $43,000 a year. Yeah, but you're working year round and after, that's not like you're taking home $43,000.
No,
I don't know what the end result would be after taxes and all the stuff, but
when I left
Wow.
the supervisor's office, I was only making 35,000.
I know. No, I understand. I'm just, so it's kind of shocking to me that we're not paying more. So, but hey, right, 6 people applied. So then I guess, but still,
To be honest with you guys too, so you know, my wife's looking into in this area that's not for any kind of desk type job. That's actually a decent wage from what I'm looking at or what she's looking at for applying for things like that, where she's having a hard time finding anything above 20.
Okay.
So
no, fair enough. I just make that, I always seem to make that point. I think it's, I agree. Oh yeah, I know, but still.
yeah, I have a hard time with it because in 1975, I made $25 an hour. So it doesn't equate.
I was in the 5th grade.
So
Because we'll put out a sheet that shows actually what you make an hour and then what you make an hour with your benefits. And it's a huge difference.
I understand. Just
yeah, you do have to,
Yeah.
you're looking at full time, you do have to look at the additional benefits because that's actually part of the hourly.
oh no, I understand. I just trust me, but just
All right.
seems like still.
So let's do
And I
it.
think we should.
Okay, vote please.
Mrs. Lewis. Lewis, yes. Mr. Howe,
Mr. Hall votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, item K is parcel of property in South Bay Shores that used to be the water well property for that district there. And the well was abandoned, the building pulled down. I think the well was, anyways, it's a vacant piece of property. We had a group from South Bay Shores that wanted that parcel. And so what we have in front of us is a resolution declaring that property surplus and approving the conveyance of the property to South Bay Shores condominium. Now, the thing is that I think they really wanted it to sell it as a unit for, to build on, but we've negated that and it's not to be built on. It's to be maintained as an open space. They've agreed to that, except there's some other things that have occurred. So what I'll do is I'm going to have the attorney make a motion to allow us to approve this resolution with some caveats. So put the mic up to closer to you can get.
I'm a loud talker. Just to add to the restriction that we added to the deed, So if you fumbled through the purchase agreement that's attached to the resolution, there's actually the deed that we anticipate will enter. And that deed has a restriction that it cannot be built on and that it is to remain part of their open space. And the main reason that was a condition is when the condominium was originally approved, that area was counted as open space in the determination of density for the development. And then they conveyed it to the county for the well house, and then the county then conveyed it to us once the well house is gone. And it makes sense to go back to them, but we certainly didn't want them to then come and want to put another unit on there since they used the benefit of that open space for the density that they currently have. So that's why there's a restriction in the deed. Since this was put on the agenda, I did get a call from the attorney representing South Bay Shores Homeowners Association. And they had one concern in all of these documents, that being in the purchase and sales agreement. There's a provision that I have in here that we have in all purchase and sale agreements that requires them to obtain a title commitment, which lays out any encumbrances on the property, then gives them an opportunity to object to title, gives us an opportunity to cure if we want to. And if they don't object, then they've waived any challenge to the title that we've conveyed. So I put that language in here and he contacted me saying they're uncomfortable with that because they didn't want to spend any money on the title commitment. I clarified, we're not saying they have to buy a title policy, just get the commitment so that it triggers all of this. So the long and short of it is, I'm asking that the resolution in paragraph 1 of the now therefore, where we say that the purchase agreement attached as Exhibit B is approved, instead it will say the Township Board approves the sale of the property between the Township and South Bay Shores Condominium Association in substantially the same form as the purchase and sale agreement attached as Exhibit B. And then paragraph 2 would read the way it is, authorizing the township supervisor to sign the purchase and sale agreement. And the reason for that is it gives us that opportunity to kind of flush out that paragraph 10 language about title commitment. Because frankly, if they don't want to get a title commitment, I don't think we would object to it as long as there's language in here that says they've waived their right to do it and they're not going to object to title. And so that's something we would still want to negotiate. But that being the only issue, we didn't want to push this off another month. And that's why we're asking that the resolution, that paragraph 1 be revised. And so with that amendment, any motion would be to approve the resolution number 25-09 as amended.
I move we approve resolution 2509 as amended.
Support Lewis.
All right, moved and supported. Anybody have any questions on this?
So we own this right now, right?
Right.
When they own it, is there going to be tax implications for them on it or no?
It's my understanding that yes, that it will be part of their common element. So it would be assessed just as other common elements in the association.
And they understand that? I mean, I just want to make sure that they're not going to get upset at us after that their taxes might go up because now they own more property. Well, they don't want to spend money on a title commitment. I'm just like, I want to make.
The other thing is we want to get rid of it because we have a liability issue.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I understand for sure. We don't.
I believe they do understand that because at the beginning of all of this, there was discussion that they just wanted the property outright. They wanted to just buy it and have it on their own. And there was discussion about how difficult that would be to assess outside of the homeowners association. We had all that conversation. So I don't know that it was ever pointed out, but I'm sure they understand.
Okay, thanks for the answer.
Okay.
Doesn't, when there's common property, isn't like 1/50 of that get added to each house's value or something?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
That is a method.
Right. So we had a motion. Who supported? Anybody? Okay. Let's have a vote, please.
Mr. Howe?
Mr. Howe votes yes.
Mr. Sharlick?
Charlotte, yes.
Ms. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item. On the northwest corner of M59 and Milford Road, we have a group, Steve Colbert Design, owner OM Group. They want to put in a Jimmy John's and a Dunkin' Donuts, and they've come before the Planning Commission. And there was a public hearing on that. No kickback on public hearing. Grant, you want to kind of bring us up to the end on this a little bit?
Sure. There was most of the people that were at the meeting left by then, so it was just the applicant and us and the planning commission. But a couple of things that got brought up were we asked there's an easement on the west side of the property that was for a potential connection, I believe, to the property that's the dentist office, I believe. We were asking them about that, about getting a little more parking over there, some trailer parking and some areas for their septic field and stuff. So they're looking into that because of where the septic field and the retention pond is for the dentist office. It's going to negate having a connection there. So they're looking into that, but on its face, it met all of our requirements. Some of the concerns that the planning commission had were Roscoe and one other member had a concern about getting some significant landscaping along the northern edge of the cemetery so that so if somebody's visiting a loved one or whatever over there, that they don't have to hear some of that. Some of that is not necessarily required, but we made that a stipulation in our motion that they were going to supply us with something in the site plan that was significant. Another one was a sidewalk connection that didn't cross their drive-through. And then we also wanted to see some form of trailer parking so that if somebody pulled in there to get a sandwich or something like that, they're not blocking the drive. They had enough stacking spaces. Obviously, the site had a drive-through for many, many years while it operated. They're going to kind of relocate the way the drive-through is to get 10 car stacking for the drive-through. And he also did mention, if it's important to anybody, I didn't know that it had a pretty significant basement under that building, but he did mention that they were going to use this location for some management of multiple locations. So they're going to have like a little office in the basement, and they're going to kind of manage some of the other locations with management personnel from the basement. But they're going to leave the structure pretty much as it is, redo some facade stuff, obviously tear down the attached area where the drive-through teller where stuff was. But they seemed like they had their plans in order, and we haven't obviously had a full site plan review. We told them some of the things that we were going to be looking for out of that, but they were just there to ask for the initial special use for the drive-through before they kind of cut loose on the rest of the stuff. So, and it was a unanimous yes from the planning commission.
So on that response, if you read the minutes, you would know that the planning commission did look at the standards for special land use. Those 7 items that we had a copy of at the last meeting for sheets, and also on top of that, in the packet is from our in-house planning engineer answers to those same questions. So and from that standpoint, I think that the planning commission and the engineer did a substantial job. I agree personally with that the questions were all answered, and that there seemed to be no issues with moving forward with that. So
I was wondering by chance if that basement, if there's any file cabinets down there with my paint formulas when the guy closed. My wife's biggest problem was the guy was done and all her formulas and they were in the computer. And so I don't know, maybe I'm just joking, but it'd be nice if there were some files down there to get our old paint formulas back. It'd be nice. Thanks.
He did say that they were going to use the current safe as they're putting the freezer in it.
Oh, from the bank?
The bank safe is still there. Yeah.
it's a good idea.
I have a question about the office use in the basement. It is the only reason they can do that is because they have 2
Yes, so I guess back in the day when they were using that as office, they had to put a secondary exit basically in there. And so yeah, I mean that's a building
Right. of
guy
course.
thing or whatever, but yeah, that actually came up in the meeting. So
It's because the office buildings next to them, they have basements and it was only for storage because they didn't have the proper ingress and egress.
Right. All right, so we'll need a motion on this.
I'll make a motion that we approve special land use for a drive-through for 140 West Highland with the knowledge that it meets all of the 7 tenets of our special use, that it doesn't affect other pieces of property and so forth.
Support Sylvia. Okay, moved and supported.
Oh, that's right. There is the source in right there. It's on the memo. On that,
Yeah, here.
dated April 7th.
Do you have that copy with you, Grant? Here, I've got it right here if you want to. It's this right here.
I'm the one that made the motion, so you think I would remember this or whatever. With the following conditions: that pedestrian connections to the multi-purpose pathway are formed to the south, provisions of landscape design that include buffers to deaden the sound and screen to the north for the cemetery. Site lighting is consistent with the ordinance on the final site plan. And based on the preliminary site plan prepared by Colebrook Design and responsive to the other issues identified by the planning director, township engineer, as discussed in the planning commission meeting.
Support Sylvia.
Can I ask this question? What is it? What's the timetable on this? What are they thinking? Like in terms of when will they have it? What's their estimation to be completed?
Hungry or?
Oh, it's hungry.
They have, we asked that question too. They have a lot of planning, that has to commence. Obviously, they have to get, this is the first thing just so that they know they can have the drive-through. Then they have to, really their biggest bone to pick is going to be with the county for the septic field. So they have to work through that so that they know, because obviously they're not going to start building the restaurant before they know they can have a septic field.
Right.
So I guess the answer is they don't really know. It depends on how long it takes to work through that. I would guess they're probably, before they start doing anything, they're looking at like 6 to 8 months, I would imagine. Before they could even pull the trigger or anything. Because if you don't have the permits in place, you can't start doing anything.
Is there a septic field there?
There is a small one there, but I mean, they're going to have,
Oh, okay.
they're going to have some serious, as any restaurant knows, they have a lot of, the county's pretty restrictive on usages like that, so they don't do a lot of cooking there. So they do a lot of rewarming, and Jimmy John's, it's like cold meats and stuff like that. So it's probably going to be easier than like, say, what Sheetz would have or something like that.
Or McDonald's,
Or McDonald's or anything like that, but they're still going to have to get it past all through it. So, and actually, I think at this point, based on the water usage, it may be like a state level deal, not a county level thing.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Need a vote, please. Well,
You had a motion and support, and then there was an amendment to the motion. So
Okay. I think we're ready to vote. Okay. Mr. Sharlick,
Charlotte, yes.
Miss Frederick,
yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Now votes yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Oh, I just put this in. All right, the last item is fire department purchase request. Nick, you want to explain yourself?
I don't think there's much to explain. It's the firewall for Graycon. Suggested we replace our firewall. So Beth said, this is what you need to do. Pick this up in my office and take it over there. So I did. She followed their recommendations and did her research and recommended a new firewall replacement. And that was the cost for it. Just broke that $5,000 limit. And then the other one on there is our yearly physicals that we do every year. Notify you guys of that cost, just because it is a significant cost every year that we pay for. It's going with the rates of everybody else based off what you want, what you get. We have a trailer that comes right to us. It's outside for 2 days. They cover the paid on call at work day shift, come in at night, and then all the rest of them that are available during first shift come in the next day. They do everything from urine samples to blood work to EKGs. As we get more in the future, hopefully we can get more into some more pre-cancer screenings, things like that as the budget presents. But it's a significant cost every year. When I started in 2019, it was in the $6,000 mark. Now we're up in the $8,000 mark.
You've added employees too.
We haven't technically we've added full-time employees, but a lot of them have come from the part-time ranks. So our numbers are like total number is still pretty much the same. So
we've been doing this BioCare every year for a number of years now, and I'm going to suggest that we just select them as our vendor. And then if, I know that Nick is going to look at it pretty hard every year. And if he has a different vendor he'd like to go with to replace some, he can bring that to us. But I hate to have him doing a lot of busy work if it's not necessary. So if we could just select BioCare as our vendor going forward, that would help things out, I think.
So I'll make a motion that we accept BioCare as an official vendor for Highland Township. Someone want to support that?
Support Lewis.
Okay, vote please.
Ms. Frederick? Frederick, yes. Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Sir Hal votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte?
Charlie, yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
I just had a quick question for the chief. Chief, I was just wondering, how many operations are there like BioCare? I mean, it seems like it was pretty specialized, so there probably isn't a lot to pick from. Anyway,
one other one that reached out to me last year to try to get our business. I think there's probably, I'd say only a handful, maybe 3 to 5 in the state that come around that I know of. A lot of them are provided, some are provided by the hospitals themselves. A couple different organizations that do it, but there's not a lot out there now.
Thank you for the update.
Oh, we need a motion for Greg. They were just information. No.
We need a motion to, well, Graycon is already our vendor, but I think what we should do is do a motion to approve on both of them in terms of the not payment, even though we already paid it. But is that what you're looking for, David? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve both Graycon and BioCare and the amounts as listed in their invoices for payment.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Sir Hal votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte?
Charlie, yes.
Ms. Frederick? Frederick, yes. Mr. Hamel?
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, question, real quick. Is there an update on sheets at all? Are we doing, where are we at? I'm just, not that there's nobody here to, well, with this, but I'm running in all of a sudden, but no, is there an update right now? Where are we at in the process? Like when do we, people are asking me, that's why I want to know, like, when are we going to see stuff being brought down? Like the old lumber yard and
That hasn't,
we're not
there's a lot to do before they get to that
okay.
point. So
Permit, they've got to hook to,
So I figured, but so we're,
get the plan to hook to the
Okay.
water and
this year,
septic over to the,
yeah.
fair enough, thanks.
oh, yeah.
All right. On that note, meeting's adjourned.
I want that.